I'll be back. I always come back.
Chucky's a genre shapeshifter. He jumps across subgenres unlike any other monster in modern horror history, and because he can be so easily cut and pasted, it makes the potential for future films almost endless. When you look at what we already have in the franchise, you'll notice that each film incorporates unique elements of specific subgenres, either for better or for worse. I mean, think about the first Child's Play for a second. That first hour or so plays out like an eerie murder mystery. Tom Holland shoots the original a lot like a Hitchcockian thriller, with very careful camera work and controlled pacing. We get some great cat and mouse moments as well, like the famous opening shootout in the toy store, or the inverted play on the classic 70s 80s car chase scene where Chucky pursues Norris inside of the car, or my personal favorite, the sequence with Karen chasing the elevator down the stairs to intercept Chucky. It's very brief, but it screams Brian De Palma, and I love it. Of course, all the crime, mystery, thriller elements of the film are anchored by that eventual swing into full-on slasher territory, and although the killer's identity is never really a mystery to us, the mixed genres help create uncertainty that places the characters in danger, and since we're in on it and they aren't, that's when it gets scary. It makes moments like Chucky's maniacal reveal much more frightening when he finally snaps. Child's Play 2 took full advantage of Chucky's newfound star power. They cannonballed right into the deep end of the slasher genre, but it's still far from a straightforward horror film. Child's Play 2 is a black comedy with a Lynchian feel to it. It's very Twin Peaks with off-kilter camera angles, pastel colors, and a lot of suburban repression. The side characters are unusually off, and the darkness of the story is intense, but it's played so oddly against such a light backdrop that it gives the film a sort of fever dream quality up until it just completely 180s into a full-blown nightmare inside the good guy factory. Child's Play 3 taps into the military school subgenre and injects a bit of horror into it. It incorporates specific elements frequently found in the most well-known military school films, rebelling against authority, hierarchy breakdowns, the clash of heroic morals versus inflated egos. It's all there. Then Chucky comes in, creates outlandish chaos, so much that the setting almost seems irrelevant. It highlights Chucky's versatility and his ability to adapt to practically any storyline. It also is good to point out that just because Chucky can hop genres doesn't mean he always should. Child's Play 3 is a divisive film, and it's clear that the new genre territory wasn't for everyone. So we have a mystery that evolves into straight up horror. We've got a classic slasher and pastel drip. We've got a cheesy horror movie camouflaged as a military school drama. Where could they possibly go from here, right? Well, it took them nearly 8 years, but what came next was actually the largest example of genre bending in the franchise yet. Bride of Chucky is a late 90s slasher through and through, born of the horror renaissance generated by Wes Craven's Scream in 1996, but at the very same time, it's so much more than that. It's a tongue-in-cheek rom-com mixed with a darkly comedic road movie. Bride hits viewers over the head with hilarious gags, stylized kills, melodrama, cheesy romance, and a sort of National Lampoon-style banter between a lot of the characters. It's also the first time that the series incorporated more meta elements, which to me clearly indicates that at least at that point, someone in the studios understood Chucky's endless potential and they took a big risk. And they were right to do so, because if you look back, over the course of a decade and just 4 films, Chucky was able to transcend the horror genre altogether. So with the success of Bride of Chucky, you would think that the filmmakers holding the reins, so to speak, would see the endless possibilities and take the franchise to places that the fans definitely wanted to see it go, right? Wrong. The potential was there, like low-hanging fruit, but where they decided to go next, I don't think I'll ever truly understand. I don't hate Seed of Chucky. I'll take some Chucky as opposed to nothing at all, but Seed is a weird trail mix of genres that do each other no favors. It's a slapstick, rom-com, gender swap, dark comedy, slasher, meta satire. A perfect example of cooking with way too many ingredients. Seed throws Chucky into numerous genre situations, but it doesn't take any of them seriously along the way, and because of that, it becomes quantity over quality, which is never beneficial when trying to find new genres for Chucky to play around in. Curse of Chucky was a complete return to form. The usual dark comedy we've come to expect is loud and clear, but make no mistake, horror is in the driver's seat in the 6th installment. Again, we get Chucky's creator Don Mancini directing, but this time he delivers a much more unified vision than he did in Seed of Chucky. He drops Chucky smack in the middle of a warped haunted house story, only this house isn't possessed by traditional ghosts or poltergeists. Sure, the house is old and creaky and covered in a sort of hopeless gray, but it's the lies and the secrets of the characters within that really help drum up the ghoulish atmosphere. Mancini uses the ghost story haunted house genre to tie the past films to the present present and justify Chucky's desire for revenge. Whether intended to or not, this choice shows how the franchise's adaptability allows it to reboot and redeem itself at any given time. That's why I'm always a bit confused when I watch Cult of Chucky. For whatever reason, Mancini decided to follow up a haunted house story with a pit stop in a rarely visited subgenre, the psychiatric hospital drama. Cult careens around, setting up a ton of great stuff, but it eventually leaves it all out to dry. Cult poisons the recipe of the usual psych ward story with rotten characters and mean-spirited horror, and there are no real moments of clarity here. No breakthroughs, no heartfelt moments. Chucky just turns everyone against each other. All in all, the genre jump is never fully realized, and the film eventually reveals itself just to be a vehicle for the TV show. But before we get there, MGM remade the original Child's Play, recasting Chucky as Rogue AI, because that's never been done, right? By choosing the AI gone bad subgenre and establishing Chucky as the non-human intelligence in the story, it really balances the danger of the doll, entirely different from the 1988 original. The remake strips Chucky of his human motivations and transforms him into somewhat of a blank slate. Instead of a manipulative little weasel, he's an innocent, impressionable child, or something like that. All of the E.T. parallels mold the film into something of a twisted coming-of-age buddy comedy. Chucky sees the world differently in the remake, and that disrupts everything that we're used to from the previous films. He's more victim than villain this time around, which I think is a good example of putting the genre cart before the horse, so to speak. If Chucky fundamentally changes to fit a certain subgenre, then all the magic drains away and we're left with a hollow imitation, and that's what I think the remake is. That's absolutely not the case with the Chucky TV show. Although I'm not entirely sold on the series, which was recently canceled after 3 seasons, I do like how they were able to broaden the horizons of the franchise without diminishing what fans love about it. The first 2 seasons were somewhat of an insane ensemble horror sitcom, but season 3 definitely takes an unusual turn and blows the roof off of it all completely. What begins as sort of odd play on political dramas like The West Wing or Commander-in-Chief evolves into a chaotic step-sibling of American Horror Story's debut season. Living characters die off and they return as ghosts. We see centuries-old spirits in White House limbo. We even get a glimpse of Charles Lee Ray in spectral form, and spoiler alert, he's a nightmarish ghoul, far scarier than he is in doll form in my opinion. With all that being said, at the current moment in the history of the character, I'm unsure if the creative forces behind Chucky will ever fully understand his potential. Chucky can leave characters from previous films behind and resurface wherever there's a good guy doll that likes to be hugged. Now I know that sounds a bit outlandish, but we're talking about killer doll movies here. If you have trouble suspending your disbelief, I really don't think that the horror genre is right for you, let alone movies in general. Even Don Mancini has floated ideas like Chucky on a train. There's always the Chucky vs. Leprechaun talks, and even Chucky in space, which initially sounds like a dumpster fire, but if done correctly could be amazing. Really, any genre or simple setting can be thrown into chaos just by adding Chucky. Chucky loose in a high school, Chucky at a summer camp, at a house party, Chucky killing in the snow, at a football game, on a cruise ship, on a plane, in the courtroom, on the farm, in a casino, at Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, you get the point. We could go on and on. Long story short, Chucky's a cinematic Swiss Army knife. So why hold him back? Why do the creators keep tethering Chucky to safe material rather than letting that freak flag fly? It's hard to say what the future holds, but even with the cancellation of the TV show, I still think it's safe to say that we haven't seen the last of Chucky. So do you agree that Chucky's a genre master, or do you have different opinions? Feel free to leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe out there.